want to find that drive and focus that has you locked in and on fire every single day, my book, The Mirror of Motivation, will do it for you. I bought a copy for you. You take care of the shipping. The book is free. Click the link down there. I got you. Now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves anyone to go and make things happen instead of merely waiting for things to happen. And we put all of this together, and what you get is the mindset, the method, the philosophy, the show, the book known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic is how to attack and be a predator in life. Now, we talked about aggression in episode number 420. Actually, several episodes. 420, we talked about getting aggressive to make things happen. Episode 1223, the topic was be aggressive. Episode 742, if you're not going to be aggressive, get the hell out of the way. So I suggest that you refer yourself back to all of those prior episodes where we talked about being aggressive. And today's topic is about being the predator and not the prey in life. And let me give you the context of exactly what I mean when I'm talking about this. This is about assuming that metaphorically, we are all carnivores when it comes to opportunity carnivores. I'm not talking about carnivores when it comes to eating meat. I know we had some vegans and vegetarians listening to the show. I happen to be a vegan myself. I did an episode on that a couple years ago, actually. But what we're talking about here is that you're a carnivore of opportunity. All right, you're not feeding on plants. You're not feeding on the plants of opportunity, the leftovers of opportunity. You're feeding on the meat of opportunity, meaning you got to go get it. You got to go take it. You got to go attack it. You got to take the life out of that opportunity, squeeze all the juice out of that opportunity in order for you to eat today. Okay, so that means that prey has to fall in order for you to eat. Now, that's what I mean when I say being a carnivore of opportunity. You must go attack it. You might identify it, seize it, attack it, kill it, and then take advantage of it. Then you got to squeeze all the juice out of it before what are those things called? The hyenas and another lion out there comes and tries to steal your prey from you, or the vultures come and digest the bones. You got to take everything you can out of it before everyone else comes around trying to take that opportunity from you. So that's the angle that we're coming at this topic from. Again, the topic being a predator in life, because you cannot sustain feeding only on what's left over. Okay. Sometimes in life, you just got to go get it. So let me give you a couple definitions. First of all, attacking, because the topic again is how to attack and be a predator. So definition of attack is to take aggressive action with weapons or armed force. And the definition of predator is an animal that naturally preys on others. So this is your natural understanding, today's topic, that sometimes you have to take what you want instead of waiting on what you want. The herbivores, those who only feed on plants of opportunity, they can wait. They can wait till some plants grow, then they can eat the plants, and then some more plants grow, then they can eat the plants. The problem with that is it takes a little bit too long. All right, the meatiest, fastest moving you forward opportunities are the prey. Those that run away from you, you got to hunt them down, you got to catch them, you got to stalk them, seize them, and eat them. That's what we're talking about here today, taking what you want instead of waiting on what you want. So this is a play on personal initiative, one of the 4 principal tenets of the Work on Your Game philosophy. So let's get into our points here. The topic, once again, is how to attack and be a predator in life. Point number 1, play life on offense. In episode number 1179, this is the very topic, that exact sentence, play life on offense. Many people that I've seen in life, maybe you know some of these people, maybe you know them really well, they live life like prey. In other words, a lot of people are too overly cautious and worried about what might happen to them, who they might offend with a certain action or with certain words. They're overly concerned with how they can stay out of the way of other people, of circumstances, of things. Many people they pay too much attention, an inordinate amount of attention, to why it would be smart to play it safe in life rather than putting themselves in a position where maybe it's a little bit dangerous, but the payoff is so much higher. Again, talking about expected value calculation, expected value probability that we talked about a couple episodes ago. Go back and listen to that if you don't remember it. Most people live life back on their heels. The problem with living life on your heels is this. You will not be very successful, let's say, in catching your prey living back on your heels, because as soon as prey notices a predator, what does it do? You all have watched National Geographic. You've been on YouTube. What happens when a natural predator is seen by its prey? Whatever animal it happens to chase after all the time, when the prey notices it, what does it do? It runs away. And the prey usually gets really good at escaping from the predators. That's the only way it survives. All right? The prey that can't get away from the predators ends up getting killed, and they can't reproduce and they can't keep their species going. So they're, for the most part, as a whole, they're pretty good at getting away from the predators. So you can't be back on your heels as a predator, because you'll never catch anything. By the time you get back on your toes and start running, that prey is gone. That prey is so far gone, you're going to starve to death. So you have to play life on offense. And we're talking about predator and prey. We're talking about you being a predator and the prey being an opportunity. You got to be on your toes for opportunity, looking for opportunity, ready to pounce on it, and taking your opportunity when you see it. When you see your chance, take it. That's a whole episode that we did also. That was in the last 2 months we did that episode. So go back and listen to it if you haven't already. You got to be on your toes, got to be ready to move, because opportunity moves quickly. And you also got to remember, you are not the only predator in the jungle. So that opportunity that you see may not be available for you tomorrow if you don't take advantage of it today. One of your fellow predators who has nothing against you, they just got to eat the same way you got to eat. They got to feed their kids the same way you got to feed your kids. They're going to take that opportunity that you passed on, the opportunity that you're procrastinating on, the opportunity that you think, well, if it's here today, it'll be here for me in 3 days. No, it's not going to be. It's going to be gone, because one of those other predators are going to take it, because they're on their toes and you're on your heels. You cannot play life on your heels if you plan on playing offense, and predators play life on offense. Point number 2, today's topic: how to attack and be a predator in life, a predator of opportunity, that is. Move obstacles out of your way. Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, my favorite book, he talks about this in chapter number 28. Timidity places objects in your way. Boldness obliterates the objects that are in your way. Another thing he said in the same chapter, the chapter is titled Interaction with Boldness. Lions circle the hesitant prey. When a hesitant animal of prey, an animal that usually gets preyed on by other predators, when it's hesitant out there in the field, out there in the jungle, the predators will circle around it, surround it, and give it no choice but to get killed and eaten by the pack. When you display, so what I mean by that is this: when you display to other people that you are appeasing, compromising, willing to please, and really wanting to keep everyone happy, you know what usually happens when you're that type of person? People will take advantage of you and they'll push you around. Not because, and the reason why they do this is not because they're bad people. So you might think that if someone's taking advantage of you and they're pushing you around, or they're just not treating you with the kind of respect that you feel like you deserve, you think it's because they're a bad person, that they're just this person who takes advantage of people, or is this person who tries to use people. They're an individual who's just not a good person, because that's what they're doing to you, or you see them doing it to somebody else, or you see this happening out in the world. This happens in life every single day. People get pushed around, people get taken advantage of, people get used up, and they're not properly, we'll say, compensated for whatever it is that's being taken from them. And you would assume, some of you would assume, that the person who is doing the using, person who's doing the pushing around, person who's doing the advantage taking, that something must be wrong with them as a person. Something's wrong with their character. They're not a good guy or not a good girl, not a person you'll want to associate with. But here's the thing that you need to understand about human nature. A person doesn't have to be a bad person to push another person around, to take advantage of a person, to use a person. All they had to be is human, because human nature wants balance. Things need to be balanced out in the universe. So when a person comes around who is conducting themselves as prey, a beast of burden, an animal that just gets attacked and preyed on and killed and eaten, you know what the other people around them are going to do? They're going to become predators, simply because that's the balance of the relationship. So if you show yourself to be prey, a compromising, appeasing, willing to please, keep everyone happy type of individual, you are signaling to everyone else around you that they need to be predators, because that's the only way this relationship will balance out. That's the way that it works. So you Don't look at other people and say, all right, that person's a bad person because they took advantage of me, or they pushed me around, or they used me, and they didn't treat me fairly. These sayings that people like to use when they feel like they have been done wrong in some way, shape, or form by another person, or victimized by another person in some way, shape, or form. Understand this. You are causing people to victimize you. When you are victimized by another person, there's something that you did that precipitated that victimization. This is human nature. We balance it out. There's a guy named Cesar Millan who used to have this TV show called, I can't even remember the name of the show. I think it was called Caesar's Way. I know he had a book called Caesar's Way. I forget what the name of the TV show was, but this guy was like this master dog trainer. Nowadays we got 1,000 master dog trainers, but Caesar was the main guy back in, this had to be about 2007, 2008. And I remember I used to watch this show just because Caesar was so damn good at working with these dogs and getting them to be the type of dogs that they needed to be for their human owners who had failed, and getting these dogs to behave a certain way. And one of the things that Caesar said, I actually went and read Caesar's book, and it was all about how working with dogs taught him how to deal with people at the same time. And one of the things that he was saying on the show all the time, that when a dog is with a human, so any of you who owns a dog, this is the way that it works. Dogs are pack animals. So as long as you got two living things, that's a pack. Two dogs is a pack. A human and a dog is also a pack. And the dog need to establish who the leader is of every single pack. So if any of you have two or more dogs, you probably there's an alpha dog in that pack. There's a dog amongst that group, two or more, that is the leader of the pack. And if you have one dog, between you, the human, and the dog, there has to be a leader. And if the human does not take the leadership role in that pack with the dog's instincts will move the dog to take the lead. So the dog will be leading you rather than you leading the dog. And a simple way you can see this, again, according to how Caesar used to teach, is if you see a person walking the dog and the dog seems to be pulling the human, the dog is in the front, the dog is kind of leading the way on the walk. All right, that dog has assumed the leadership role in the pack. Now, when you see a person walking the dog and they're telling the dog where to go, they're telling the dog, all right, here's where we can stop and you can pee on the bush and you can poop right now and I'll pick it up. That person is leading the dog. But often you see dogs leading humans. So next time you're outside and you see some people walking their dogs, notice the dog that seems to be in the front and is moving the human where they want the human to go. They have taken the lead in that pack. And this is the same thing that human beings do. It may not be as obvious as we don't walk each other around on leashes. This is exactly what we do when people show that they are a timid individual who wants to keep everyone happy, who wants to appease and they want to compromise. People will push you around simply because they have to assume the position. This is how human nature works. This is how human beings are bullied. The world requires balance. If you are willing to be pushed around, here's what I guarantee to you. There are people life will present to you people who will gladly do so. I'm going to say that one more time. For all of you who emphasize being nice, emphasize being friendly, emphasize getting along, emphasize compromise, emphasize everybody being friends, even though there may be some disagreements simmering beneath the surface and nobody wants to say it because everybody's trying to be a nice guy or a nice girl within the group. If you are a person who is willing to be pushed around, I guarantee you that life will present to you people who will gladly do exactly what you want and push you around. And if you've been around this earth long enough, any of you who is a professional of what you do, I'm 100% sure you've seen this already, whether you were involved yourself or you've seen it happening to somebody else. Good people. The person who was doing the pushing was a good person, and the person who was being pushed was a good person. It's simply because people chose their roles. You can change your role anytime that you want, but if this has happened to you in the past, understand it is something that you did to cause it. That's what we do here on the show. We talk about how other people's actions and how our interactions with other people, we interpret them. We figure out what's going on with them, and we can talk about maybe what we anticipate to happen in the future, but we always bring it back to ourselves because we can't change other people. It's easier to change ourselves than it is to change others. There's a whole episode on that exact topic that we have here. Again, if you go into the archive, which you can access as a member of the game group, and I'll tell you about that soon. You already know it, actually, if you're listening to this right now. So go into the archive since you already are here and listen to that so you can figure out how to change yourself rather than trying to change others or complaining or bitching about other people. So what you need to do is be the opposite. All right. Now, when I say be the opposite, that doesn't mean you go and start bullying people and pushing people around. What I mean is you need to be the type of person who moves with purpose. As Robert Greene said in this chapter in the 48 Laws of Power, enter action with boldness, moving with purpose, moving with energy in such a way that people and obstacles will naturally move out of your way. Now, what does this mean? Have you ever come across a person? You don't even have to have known the person. You ever seen somebody who you could just tell by their energy, by their body language, by the way that they talked, by the look in their eyes, that they clearly knew exactly where they were going? You ever seen that? You've been that person at least at times in life. You get into a certain state. Maybe it's in a moment, maybe it's for a whole day, maybe it's been for a whole year, maybe you're that person right now. You get into a certain frame of mind, you know exactly where you're going, why you're going there, what you need to get done, and there's a little bit of urgency, at least a little bit of urgency to your actions. When you have that type of energy, what happens? People move out of the way. When people can tell you know where you're going, they will not get in your way. Now, when you seem to be hesitant, when you seem to be unsure, when you're second guessing yourself, when you're putting your head down and not really, you don't seem too confident in your own actions, then people get in your way, right? Then people start telling you what to do. Then people start taking advantage of you. Then people start pushing you around. Then people start doing stuff that you start blaming them for, but all they're doing is what you're asking them to do. When you don't have any purpose yourself, when you don't know where you're going, when you are not moving forward with purpose, with energy, with boldness, somebody who has more of it than you, they're going to control the situation with you. That's the way it works. So all you need to do is become a person of purpose. We become who we are on purpose. Leaders do things on purpose. Everyone else does things on default. Whatever happens, just happens. There's a whole episode on this topic as well, doing things on purpose. Become the person with that energy, with that purpose, with a place to go. Obstacles and people will naturally move out of your way. In basketball, for example, when I'm watching a basketball game, I could watch a player catch the ball at the 3-point line and they start to make a drive towards the basket. And I could tell before they even jump off of the floor, he's about to dunk it. I could be watching the game. Any of you who has watched enough basketball or played enough basketball, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can see somebody get the ball and before they even jump, before they even stop dribbling, you're like, all right, they're about to dunk. Because you can tell how. It's instinctive. It's not because they announced it. It's not because they have to dunk the basketball. It's because the instincts from our experience in basketball, you can read in a person's energy and in their movements that they know what they're about to do. And they know it's going to take a certain amount of energy. It's going to take a certain amount of force to go and dunk that basketball. So you can read it. You can even predict it before it actually happens. It's the same thing in life. Other people, through their instincts, can read your energy. They can read how you're feeling about yourself. They can read if you know where you're going or if you don't know where you're going, if you're just wandering around aimlessly. And people will respond to you accordingly based on the energy that you present to them. You don't have to say a word. The energy that you present tells other people how to deal with you, how to label you, and then how to deal with you subsequently. Point number 3, today's topic is how to attack and be a predator in life. You must learn to be a predator even when there is no wolf pack behind you supporting you. Now, see, some predators, they attack in packs, right? Again, you've seen National Geographic. You see the hyenas when a lion kills a gazelle or something, and then 20 hyenas come out of nowhere, and they all try to gang up on the lion to try to steal that kill from the lion. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But a hyena is the type of animals that attack in packs. And you have wolves. Sometimes they attack in packs, and sometimes lions will work in tandem. Sometimes they work one-on-one. But there are some predators who usually do their attacking when there's a group of them, because they may not be as strong by themselves to get things done, but in the group they can get a lot of things done. Not a good thing or a bad thing, just what it is. What I'm telling you is, yes, it's great to attack when you're with the pack, but you also must learn to be a predator even when there's no pack behind you. Let me explain what I mean by this, because it has two meanings. One meaning is the more literal one, And that, yes, it's much easier to take advantage of an opportunity, to move with purpose, to move with boldness, to move with energy when you know you're backed up by other individuals who have the same goal, the same common goal as you. You know what kind of support system you have. You know, everybody knows exactly what you're doing. And each person knows that if they come up short, then the person to the left of them and the person to the right of them can take up the slack, at least for a brief period of time, if not for longer. That's one area that I mean when I say being a predator and attacking opportunity in life. It's much easier to do when you're in a group because you know other people can pick up the slack for you when you don't completely show up. So I mean, what I'm saying here is, in this third point, is you need to learn to attack opportunity even when you don't have the support system of other people with you. That's one meaning. Now let me tell you what the second meaning is of this same point. The pack of wolves that you could have possibly behind you as the predator, let's just say you're a wolf. So that pack of wolves could be a bunch of other people, but let me tell you another way another thing that pack of wolves represents metaphorically. It's things working in your favor. In other words, you must learn to be the attacker and the predator seizing opportunity, even when the last 3 times that you tried to seize opportunity, it didn't work. Even though the last time you tried to seize opportunity, it worked against you and you almost got killed by another wolf, or you almost got killed by a lion who didn't like the fact that you tried to steal that kill that the lion already had. You must learn to be a predator even though you've had a long run of unsuccessful attacks on opportunity. You must still attack the next opportunity as if that last one didn't happen. The saying goes, I forget who said it, the saying is, success is moving from failure to failure without a loss in enthusiasm. So you as the predator, again, even though there's no pack behind you, whether that pack be the support of other people or the peace of mind of knowing that even if I fail at this, I got a whole bunch of success in my backpack. So even if this one fails, I'm all right. Even if you don't have that success in your backpack, even if you're on your last attempt right here, either I kill this deer right here or I'm going to starve to death, or my pups are going to starve to death, you must attack it with the same energy, with the same boldness that you would when everything's working out. This is a challenge that a lot of people have in life. Most people are not able to sum up the confidence, the self-assurance, the bold energy necessary to be a predator in life when things are not working out. See, it's very easy for somebody to feel good about themselves and about their chances and to even take chances when everything's been working up to that point. If your last 3 shots went in a basketball game, it's pretty easy for you to take shot number 4, right? Now, if you missed your last 5 shots, you might hesitate taking shot number 6. Now, Kobe Bryant, a legendary basketball player. Everyone knows his name even if you never watched basketball. Kobe Bryant said, if I go 0 for 10 in the basketball game, that's a serious failure because that means I got scared to shoot. I missed 10 shots and I stopped shooting the ball. Now, if I'm missing all my shots in the game, I should never go 0 for 10. I should go 0 for 30 is what he said. And the idea that he's giving you is the same idea I'm giving you here. Just because things are not working out for you doesn't mean you should hesitate to stop trying to make things work out. And this is what a lot of people do. Michael Jordan, episode 1217, my Virtual Mentors episode, he said this in his very first book. He said, I learned on the court to be a predator even when I didn't have a pack of wolves behind me. Everyone has heard the saying that an army of sheep led by a lion is more formidable than an army of lions led by a sheep. What Michael was explaining, and when he said that in his book, was that it doesn't matter who else you put on my team. Even if my team, the rest of the guys on the team are not that good, even if we haven't been very successful this year, even if we're barely making the playoffs or missing the playoffs, I'm still going to show up every game and attack full bore. Doesn't matter who else is on the court with me or against me. Whereas other people, and he said this also in the book, some other people are only able to get themselves in that attack mindset when everything's working in their favor or when they have a good team around them. Or when they just been successful. There are some players out there, and I know there are a lot of athletes and people in the athletic world who listen to this show. There's some athletes out there who, when things are not working in their favor, their personal favor or in the favor of their team, their energy goes down. Their effort level goes down. Their willingness to show up and actually perform goes down. We've seen this happen. We see it happen in professional sports all the time, right? We see players sitting out games when their team is no longer in a competitive space. They know their team's not going to make the playoffs. All of a sudden, everybody's injured. Nobody wants to play in any games. But if their team was competing for a championship, they'd be playing in every game. Exact same person, exact same physical ailments. What changed? People don't want to be predators when things aren't working in their favor. What I'm telling you today is you must be a predator even when things are not working in your favor. Even when that pack behind you that you're used to having behind you isn't around, you still must attack anyway. Napoleon Bonaparte, one of the greatest war generals of all time, maybe the greatest, depending on who you ask, was once preparing his army for a surprise attack on an enemy, and they were to surprise this enemy, to attack this enemy. They were going to surprise them by crossing the Alps mountains, which is a very tough mountain range to cross, or so I've heard. And one of Napoleon's lieutenants approached him and said, Mr. General, the way the weather is set up right now, there's not a favorable circumstance for us to cross the Alps and do what we should do right now. And Napoleon looked at his lieutenant, again, according to the story, and he said to him, for Napoleon's army, there shall be no Alps. And then they went and crossed the Alps. However they did it, they surprised the enemy and they won that battle. And what Napoleon was telling his lieutenant was this: we are not looking at the obstacles, we're looking at the outcome. Or we're going to utilize that obstacle and make it part of our outcome anyway. You don't need help from other people all the time, and you can't depend on help from other people if you plan on being a predator. Because sometimes a predator has to eat and the pack ain't around. So what you going to do? Starve to death waiting for the pack, or you going to go attack? Jay-Z, 50 Cent, two rappers that I've done Virtual Mentors episodes on, should give you a hint. Both of them launched their careers at a time when nobody was really interested. Jay-Z, nobody was interested in him as a rapper. They said, he's okay, but why sign him? He went and did it his own way. 50 Cent, people were interested in him. Then he got shot. Then nobody wanted to be around him because they were afraid of getting shot too. Nobody wanted to touch this guy. He said, all right, I'm going to do it my own way. They both did it differently, but they both did it their own way, even though they no longer had a pack of wolves behind them. If you no longer have a run of success or you had a run of failures, are you still willing to attack the next time? Robert Greene, the 33 Strategies of War, a different book, he talked about the strategy of counterattack. When things are not working in your favor, meaning you're being attacked by a circumstance or by an opponent, that is often your best opportunity to attack back. When they're attacking you, that's your best chance to come back. Most people only feel confident about attacking life when things are working. And then they become timid when things are not working. What about you? What I propose that you do is start thinking in the opposite way. In other words, when things are working for you, everything's working in your favor, that's when you should be most cautious, because then you are prone to, when things are working, we are prone to overconfidence and overreaching and putting ourselves in a bad position by trying something that we didn't need to try. But when things are not working, usually we become timid. What I'm suggesting you do is become even more aggressive when things are working in your favor. Let's recap today's topic, which is how to attack and be a predator in life. Refer to the following episodes about being aggressive: episode 420, number 1223, and number 742. The definition of attack is to take aggressive action, and the definition of a predator is an animal that naturally preys on others. What we're talking about here, the angle we're using here today, is calling ourselves predators of opportunity, not predators of other people, but actually going after the opportunities that we want, taking what we want instead of waiting for what we want. Point number one, you got to play life on offense. Listen to episode 1179 where I talked about this. Many people live life like prey. They're worried about what might happen. They're scared of offending people. They try their best to stay out of other people's way. They live life on their heels. The problem is you can't be a predator living on your heels, because you'll never catch anything. You'll never kill anything. You'll starve to death. Point number two, learn to move obstacles out of your way. Rather, decide to move obstacles out of your way. Robert Greene, The 48 Laws of Power, chapter 28, interaction with boldness. He said, timidity places objects in your way. Boldness obliterates objects that are in your way. Also, lions will circle the hesitant prey. When you show that you're a amenable, appeasing, compromising, willing to please individual, people will push you around, not because they're bad people, but because that's the balance of the universe. The same thing when you have a dog. If you don't take the lead in that pack, your dog will lead the pack, because that's the instincts of the dog. It's the same thing with the instincts of human beings. The world requires the balance. If you are willing to be pushed around, guaranteed life will present you some people who will gladly push you around. So be the opposite. Not in bullying people and pushing them around on purpose, but being a person who moves with purpose and energy so that obstacles move out of your way naturally. People move out of the way of the person who knows where they're going. Think about a time in your life when you really knew where you were going. You notice how people just moved out of your way? Nobody tried to slow you down. Nobody tried to ask you any questions. Nobody tried to hold you up because they could tell instinctively that you knew where the hell you were going, so they got the hell out of the way. In basketball, you could watch a game and see somebody get the ball at the three-point line, and you could tell just by the way they move, by their steps, their body language, that they're about to dunk the basketball even before they jump. If you watch enough basketball, you know exactly what I'm talking about. What is this? We can read, our instincts tell us what a person is feeling, what their energy is. And it's the same thing off the court in life. When a person knows where they're going, we just get the hell out of their way because we don't want to get ran over by that train. That's what a predator does. And point number 3, you must learn to be a predator even when there's no wolf pack behind you. Michael Jordan talked about this, that he was a predator on the court even when nobody else on his team was a predator. Even though he had a whole bunch of sheep on his team, when he did, he was still a predator. And when he got a whole bunch of predators on his team, he was still the leader of the pack. That's the kind of mentality that you need to bring to your life. And a pack of wolves could either be people or it could be the success behind you. If you have no success behind you, that's when you need to be even more aggressive, because if you're being timid because you don't have any success, do you think that's going to make success come to you? I don't think so. Success is not attracted to failure. Napoleon said, "For Napoleon's army, there shall be no Alps." You don't need always help from other people. Jay-Z, 50 Cent launched their rap careers at a point when nobody was interested in dealing with them. They decided to do it on their own. They decided to make it happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Robert Greene, the 33 Strategies of War, talked about the strategy of counterattack. When things are not working, that's often your best opportunity to attack. When things are not going the way that you want them to go. Most people only feel confident about attacking in life when things are working in their favor, and they're timid when things are not working. I say do the opposite. When things are working, that's when you should be cautious. And when nothing's working, that's when you should throw caution to the wind. Work on your game. Dre all day.